Okay, everyone. Today I have a special guest. He's one of my subscribers, longtime followers. He's been here before when I had the Wilson Audio XLF. You heard that with Block Audio at
Yes,
that
I
point
did.
in time, right? Which a lot of people want to know my take on Block Audio, but I've kept that on their wraps. You'll soon know my take on Block Audio. But anyway, today he came to hear my system, which is completely different than what you last heard. Different DAC, speakers, cables. I think maybe the transparent we're still here, or no, the transparent Opus, the big boy cables. Were they here last time you
They
were?
were here. You had just received them.
Yeah. So the cables. So the only thing I think I had in common were the cables. Really, that's about it. Because the DAC is different, the speakers are different, and of course the amplification and preamplification, and I believe even the music server, that I'm using right now. So he was listening to his music that he's typically, listening to at home. He is from Switzerland, right?
Yes.
So he's come a long way here for business, and he wanted to pay me a visit since he already heard my system before, and he wanted to run a couple of questions by me, a couple of ideas for his own personal use, plus have the opportunity to listen to the music that he's used to. And I want you to just give everyone opinions here. Give him your opinion. I don't hold anybody hostage. He can say whatever he wants, just so you know. I'm okay with it, because at the end of the day, this is a very subjective hobby. So anybody can have an opinion, and it has to be well respected. Okay, just for the record, I want to make sure I'm clear on that. Go ahead.
Well, first, thank you, Jay.
Pleasure.
I'm one of the few that has been lucky enough to visit you, and I want to thank you. I've followed you for quite some time, and it's been a pleasure. I've bought and sold a lot of stuff that you talked about, and I'm still, like a lot of us, looking for the Grail. But it's quite a different system. You went from. It's quite interesting because when Mike was here.
Yep, Mike, some cool studio.
Yeah. What was obvious is you love a very clear system, and
Very
you love softer, more musical in some ways. And you had a very, very clear system, almost too clear for me.
Okay.
With the Wilsons.
With the Wilsons, yeah. Very revealing. I agree.
Very revealing. This is much softer, but at the same time, it's so wide. It's so wide. I'm gonna go home and cry. It's very wide, very deep, quite interesting, and we just played some Grieg. Classical music, which at home can become, when it starts very slow and it goes deep, and bigger and bigger and bigger, and the soundstage was still very wide. It's a philharmonic. At the same time, as it got louder and louder and louder, no details were lost.
Interesting.
Which was quite shocking, because in my place with my Martin Logan, it got a little fuzzy and I don't know what it is.
A little congested.
A little bit, yes.
Got it.
So
sometimes that can be the amplification, of course, the whole system, right? But if I'm going to zoom in on one component, can be the amplifier that is completely taxed.
Yes.
And it just wants to get right through the complex passages because it doesn't know how to separate the instrumentation, the percussion, everything that's going down. It is just too much for the amplifier to handle and put in front of you. So that's typically what happens. Okay, go ahead.
But a rounder, as I said, the bass is almost like a great, very powerful, one of the best tube amps you've had here. I don't know which one you had that had strong bass.
I would say the VAC statement, the 450 IQs. Yep.
And it's the voices are very. There's texture.
Yeah.
It's almost like a great tube, and I love tubes, but I miss with the tubes. I always miss the slam, the big push at the bottom. But this is quite something. But again,
the soundstage is one of the things that you are just like completely floored by, right?
It's just Yeah.
It's and so this is a perfect segue into that conversation that I had with you guys when I came out of Expona with regards to the maestro that they had there. It was a phenomenal soundstage. It was, and let me tell you, Wilson is known for a big soundstage too. Absolutely incredible soundstage. But the maestro here for me is just the perfect speaker for this room in terms of the size. It's about 55 inches tall, more or less. I think it fits perfectly. There's enough room over the top of the speaker, from the top of the speaker to the ceiling. And of course, to your point, that effect that there's things happening behind your head, left to right, right to left. And mind you, there is a lot of conversation about focal speakers being bright. So you can give them.
No, there's no brightness here.
Okay. So you're hearing it.
No, that's on the song we played, and we played quite a few songs. No brightness, absolutely, and it goes. You're right. It goes
behind your head
because you have
like
almost like a time delay. You hear it here, and it goes around. It's
So that is one of the biggest things and biggest attributes I look for when I buy a speaker. It has to make me feel like I'm inside a bubble, like I walk into the music. That has to be there for me. And I understand placement of the speaker is so important. I understand it fully, okay, because I have done the work before. When I lose that feeling of being submerged into the music, I know something's off with my setup. So I have to work the speaker, work my listening chair, and then when I finally get to walk inside the music, I stay there and I begin to move the speakers, left to right, right to left, toe them in, toe them out, and then do the fine tuning with the footers. So maybe at some point I'll do a video as far as how I achieved that effect that you're talking about of feeling like you're inside the music. You said something very clear, very interesting actually. You feel like your setup at home is one dimensional. You lose you don't have that three-dimensionality. And I've talked about this where you feel like there is music behind the speaker, in front of the speaker, and behind you. That is something that is key when you do this. If you're losing those layers of information, something's off. Your setup is off. There could be something wrong with the room. There's a lot of different variables that you have to take in consideration. But I'm glad that someone finally heard a properly set up Focal Utopia, and they can tell you right now they are not bright speakers if you know what you're doing, okay? To give you all some context as to what he heard Constellation Taurus, the stereo amplifier, the matching Pictor preamplifier with the DC filter. Everything is sitting on the Artisania Master Kio stands that I'm a dealer for, as you guys know, and the music server, the usual music server that you guys know about, the Tyco Extreme. Cables are transparent Opus speaker cables with transparent Generation 6 XL interconnects. Okay, the Constellation gear is using stock power cords. The amp and preamp are using stock power cords. And what are you feeling with stock power cords? How good is it?
Well, it's good enough for me.
It's phenomenal.
I'm sure they did. But so now next we're playing with the Boulder, correct?
See that? He's already asking for the Boulder. He gets to hear a setup that right now, currently MSRP's, just the amp and preamp, $57,000 USD. So now we're going to get up to a $210,000 amp and preamp. And we will be back with more feedback from this man. And then he'll give you his opinion on both presentations, okay? Completely open floor. You can say your opinion.
My humble opinion.
His humble opinion. At the end of the day, I'm just blessed to own both, so it doesn't bother me. Whichever he prefers, I totally understand. But I'm happy that you're liking what I have cooked in my kitchen. And I'm happy that you are very, very, very impressed. It means the world to me because I work really hard here, and you know it.
No, it's yes, and I've told you that. I mean, I've thanked you many times.
About, yes, sir. Thank you so much. We will be right back, guys. Right back. Stay tuned for more. Coming to you soon. Let's listen.